This channel is dedicated to my lifelong childhood friend, Mr. Rafael Bulcao, who was taken tragically way too soon off this earth. He was one of the most amazing, wonderful, and charismatic people within the hobby of watching trains. This channel is dedicated for you, and I miss you every single day. Thank you for the laughs, the memories, and the fun times. R.I.P. Rafael Bulcao, Trains of Brazil. On 7-Eleven Day, it would be the first day testing out my new GoPro camera in daylight. I had gotten it the night before, but had been waiting for something that was worthwhile to try it out on. And I scored big with Metro North Railroad's Conrail Heritage Unit number 201, leading train 1860 to Danbury. Here it is arriving at the updated Merritt 7 train station. After the train came to a complete stop, I ran to the end of the parking lot fencing to get a shot of 1860 departing northbound to Danbury. Pay no mind to my hand on the right side of the screen as Conrail Heritage Unit 201 roars out of the Merritt 7 train station. After all the excitement with the Conrail 201 Heritage Unit on 1860, I explored a different shot for 1868 with the New Haven 229 leading. I'm sure the people walking by on the sidewalk were wondering what the hell I was doing mounting my GoPro with a Gorilla Pod on top of this no parking sign. But I'd say it was worth it. The shot came out awesome. While the shot came out freaking awesome, this was the only time over the entire summer that I used this shot, as I found other angles that were less of a hassle to set up, either at or around the Merritt 7 train station. The next day, I had off from work, so my plan was to railfan the entire afternoon and evening along the Danbury branch and at the South Norwalk train station. The day starts out with a quick-paced run to catch Conrail 201 leading train 1830 over Commerce Street past the Devine Brothers concrete plant. The guy nervously looking toward the camera came up and talked with me after he saw me haul ass to the crossing. He was concerned for my safety as there had been several incidents recently with people getting in close calls or hit by the train. He was nice enough to wait until I finished recording, and I thanked him for his caring nature. One of the major factors in getting a Gorilla Pod with my GoPro was for shots like this. Here's train 1875 headed to South Norwalk as seen from Burnell Ave at a spot I like to call Hole in the Wall. Conrail 201 pushes the train as it slinks into the tunnel under several businesses and Wall Street. Thus the nickname for this spot making a whole lot of sense. With the sun coming out in full force, I decided to move to the South Norwalk train station at one of my all-time favorite spots there, the New York westbound side at the end of tracks 3 and 5. This provides a great shot of both east and westbound trains. I was still getting used to mounting and filming with the GorillaPod and GoPro as train 3542 cruised past. The first Amtrak train I filmed with the new setup was Regional Train 137. The frame rate of the GoPro makes the LED headlights of ACS 64 651 flicker as the train passes by on the local track. As a note of interest, the train featured 10 cars with an extra cafe car bringing up the rear. Running only a few minutes behind 137 was the Vermonter, Amtrak Train 55 with its standard 5 cars led by ACS 64 632 on track number 3. I knew the Conrail Heritage Unit number 201 would return leading 1844 to Danbury. Its big yellow nose certainly stands out as the train pulls to a stop on track number 4. After boarding passengers, soon enough, Conrail 201 trundles out of the station as it passes under the shadows cast by the overhead wire support system. Three CDOT-owned red stripe Shoreliner cars are bracketed by 4 blue stripe Metro North-owned cars. Meanwhile, 3 cab cars comprise this set, with the first tucked in behind the engine, while the other 2 cab cars are on the rear. Now, I apologize that this next video is a bit crooked. I admit that I was still getting used to this camera setup and wasn't quite on the level just yet. The New York Central Heritage Unit number 211 rolls into South Norwalk Station on track 4 as over my shoulder train 1881 arrives on track 5. Now, this is a prime example of having to prioritize certain trains over others. My rule of thumb that makes me sound like a raging foamer is to always favor the Heritage Unit over the boring, everyday kind of stuff. As train 1848 eases to a stop, the passengers from train 1881 disembark onto the platform. Both track 5 and 6 at South Norwalk are stub tracks that end in the station. Only track 5 sees regular service now, with track 6 mostly being used for storage. With 1848 waiting to cross over, Metro North train 1556 passes by. This is fairly typical as the Danbury trains, when running on track 4, need to switch over 5 tracks to access the branch. I thought I was going to get blocked on track 3 and not see 1848 depart on track 4, but thankfully that train pulled far enough up not to block my shot. Later in the day, dark clouds moved in, as evident with this shot of Amtrak 2163 running on track 3 meeting BL20GH 129 sitting on track number 5. For some reason today, all the westbound Amtrak trains are running on the local track with track number 3 instead of running on the express track with track 1 or track number 2. I was just barely able to flip the camera around for the rear of 2163 as I met 1860 arriving at South Norwalk on track 4. I thought 2163 was going to block 1860 pulling up to a stop. The engineer on this train likes to pull up really far to spot the train up the platform, but thankfully that wily Acela cleared in plenty of time. Owned by the Connecticut Department of Transportation, New Haven P32 ACDM 231 eases train 1860 to a stop just out of frame. I knew this engineer would pull really far up the platform, so I set up a great going-away shot for 1860's departure, showcasing the different schemes as CDOT New Haven 231 poses next to CT Rail 129 before it begins to chug towards switching over to the Danbury branch, as the sun ducks behind yet another cloud. The big GE, looking more like an Alco, belches some black smoke as it leads an entirely Blue Stripe Metro North-owned train set over the multiple switches leading to the Danbury branch. I'm lucky I still caught this. Amtrak Veterans Unit 642 leads Regional Train 94 on Track 1 through South Norwalk. I was talking to my station usher friend further down the platform as I saw the train coming around the corner and booked it down the platform. I just barely made it, as you can see, to my filming spot. But sadly, the interesting paint schemes of P-32s were broken up by a boring blue stripe 225 leading train 1868. As a note of infamy, 225 is the locomotive that was involved in the Spuyten Duyvil derailment in 2013. I call this unit SD for short. The train is made up of 6 Blue Stripe Metro North-owned shoreliners and 1 lone CDOT cab car, the Connecticut Yankee, bringing up the markers. As darkness begins to build, next up was Amtrak Acela 2193 with a friend at the controls doing a shave and a haircut and waving out the window. You can hear me yell his name after he passes by on Track 3 meeting an idling CT Rail 129. Thanks for the horn show, buddy. Much appreciated. The last train to conclude a very busy afternoon and evening of railfanning would be train 1889, with the main subject of interest for most of the day pushing the train. 1889 arrives on Track 3 with 1874 patiently waiting to depart on Track 5. How the schedule works was that 1889 would arrive at 8:03 p.m., with 1874 leaving at 8:05 p.m. But 1889 on its way down from Danbury meets 1848, 1860, and 1868. So if any of those trains are late, that makes 1889 late as well, which in turn makes 1874 late leaving South Norwalk Station. Bell clangs on blue-striped Shoreliner cab car 6129 as 1889 rolls to a stop, amplifying the sound of CT Rail 129, waiting for the signal to change to depart off track number 5. Repositioning the camera, 1889 begins to depart South Norwalk on track number 3. In the time it took to change camera angles, 1874 had already pulled up to the signal. The roar of Conrail Heritage Unit 201 pushing 1889 grows louder and louder as the locomotive comes into frame, shooting fire from the stack, pushing the 7-car train out of the station. This was a great way to end a full and fun day of railfanning the Danbury Branch and New Haven line. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos. I hope you enjoyed the video. It was quite the learning process putting it all together. Stay tuned for more videos to be posted very soon. Thank you. I truly appreciate it.